Well, Ollie, I mean, you've been here a number of times.
Yes.
But people often ask why, or how long we've been here and why we're here. And my name is Temple Richards, but the house is famous for being connected with Thomas Cook. And the reason for that is because my mother was a Miss Cook, Geraldine Cook, and her siblings had no children. So my sister and I were the only children in our generation. And so the finger was pointed at me. It's you. Well, yes, I mean, now coming to what actually happened, and people often ask, where did the money come from that did this? And the money, of course, came from Thomas Cook, the travel agent.
Yes.
And the chap who built this house was the grandson of the original Thomas Cook. The chap who built this house was Thomas Albert Cook, known as Bert. And his father, a chap called John Mason Cook, was the man who really made the business succeed. The moment he was dead, Bert wanted to play.
Absolutely.
And so he sold his third of the travel agency to his two brothers, who were Frank and Ernest. And Frank and Ernest, like their names, they were good boys and toiled on in the business. And Bert came to Norfolk to play. And I think he came to Norfolk because there were lots of amusing things to do here.
Absolutely.
Like racing yachts on the Broads. He had
Very nice.
a yacht on the Broads, which he raced, and shooting and hunting and all of that. So he bought what it was a Georgian house, a sort of white brick, like Holcombe white brick house, which was built in the 1770s. He bought that house, and he clearly wanted something sort of grander and more impressive. And the original Georgian house actually can be seen still in the form of the 2 bays there, 3 bays, 2 bays there. That bit of it is
yes.
the old Georgian house, white brick Georgian house. And in fact, oddly enough, those are not red bricks. They're actually things called mathematical tiles, which are about as thick as my hand and are stuck on.
So
like
how extraordinary. Well, so this whole 17 bay facade, just the left-hand 7 bays are the original house.
Correct.
And then you've got this amazing stone centrepiece,
yes.
which looks like part of Blenheim Palace has been dropped here.
What is clever about the house is that from the original Georgian house onwards, it's really pretty much only 1 room thick.
Like a French house.
So you get a lot of bang for your bucks in terms of coming up the drive.
Absolutely.
And wow factor and how much house you see.
Well, I think that is such a key thing here, isn't it? The arrival at Sennowe is such an extraordinary experience.
The
reveal.
Well, the reveal is very last minute, isn't it? You come down the drive, which is long and
Arrow
straight. Then you sort of wend your way through the park, and the trees prevent you from getting
and then suddenly
the full reveal. And then there it is.
Yes. He engaged at Norfolk's go-to architect of the day, Skipper. Skipper is famous in Norfolk, I mean, particularly for many things in Norwich, like the Royal Arcade and the Norwich Union Building, which are very fine. But I think what made Skipper's name really was, which came I think before those buildings, was the hotels in Cromer.
Yes.
3 huge hotels in Cromer, which he built. And so he was clearly a big name in Norfolk. And so Bert engaged him. And I'm sure the brief was, just make me a nice big house.
Make me a nice big house, exactly.
And I suspect Skipper rubbed his hands together and thought, right, we're off to the races here. And so Skipper had fun, basically, because he borrowed all kinds of sort of motifs. This tremendous sort of middle section is, to me, straight out of Central Europe.
It is. It's Vienna. Exactly.
And then the statuary across the top sort of makes you think of St. Peter's in Rome.
It does. It's so grand, isn't it? Yeah. But it remains fun enough. It remains playful and somehow quite light and pretty for such a sort of theatrical explosion of architecture.
And I think he just had fun.
He had a lot of fun.
Going back to the story you were touching on, it's said that Bert went away on a sort of world tour to let Skipper get on with it and build the house, and came back and was shown around the house and got round the house and turned to Skipper and said, "And where is the ballroom?" And you can see Skipper doing ballroom. So they stuck on the enormous conservatory at the back, stuck that on in theory as a ballroom. Not that it would have worked as a ballroom because it's sort of hard marble floor and glass,
And there's a central.
it's cold and noisy. But
And this is all happening close to the First World War.
7 years before.
yes, well, that's the sad thing.
It's
You
the
see
last
that
hurrah.
it was finished in about 1907 on the hoppers. There's a date, 1907.
1907.
And 7 years later, well, first of all, Bert died in 1914.
Yes.
Secondly, the First War happened. So by 1918, 1919, the financial and social landscape was entirely different. And immediately it was difficult to run. We get down and have a look at the park.
Yeah, let's go and have a look down here.
And the point in a way of coming down here is to
wonderful
see the boathouse, and indeed the park.
This magnificent boathouse, which is, I suppose, built soon after the house was built?
Right about the same time. I think it's probably completed in about 1910.
1910.
So a tiny bit after.
And did Thomas Albert Cook put in the lake as well?
Yeah. I think there's a sort of marshy patch down there, and the lake was dug by hand. But the boathouse, it was, when we arrived, there was a small hole in the roof and things were going downhill rather rapidly. And so we knew we had to re-roof it, but rather than just re-roof it, we took a deep breath, basically, and went to the bank and said, please, sir, I want some more. And,
we will pay you back, I promise.
We spent sort of 2 or 3 times more than that we had budgeted, and it took twice as long.
Well, it's a substantial building.
We made it a holiday let, and the purpose of doing that was because to have a future, it had to have a financial future.
Of course. I know it must be so much work to keep this place looking beautiful, but it's marvellous.
Well, it's a battle, isn't it?
Yes.
Because nature is trying to tear the whole thing down as quickly as it can, and we're rushing around trying to shore it up.
So is this the south front here?
So this is the south front, and you can see on the left
is the Winter Garden.
Famous Winter Garden, as we call it, this huge conservatory built as the ballroom. And to the left of that, you can see the water tower in the shape and form of an Italian campanile.
Well, it looks like St Mark's Square has come to Norfolk,
exactly,
doesn't it?
Exactly.
Norfolk's campanile.
Yes.
And it has bells in it, which should normally ring, but we've got problems with the clock.
Which tunes do they play?
They do a Westminster chime.
Of course.
As opposed to a Whittington chime.
So should we do the front door? Should we go in here?
Approaching the Winter Garden from here, because you see the Spirit of the Waves, the statue.
Oh, lovely. Let's do that.
Who's a rather saucy little number. The plaster is very soft, and there were drips. There's still a lot of drips, lots of drips. But drips had cut holes in the alabaster, and we did do a quite significant repair.
Yes.
And what you can't see is along the top, there's effectively a bit of concrete now to hold it all together.
We have had dancing.
It's a good party room. A good party.
It's a good party.
It's
actually very handy for us because our kitchen is just there.
Yes.
So we can come out of the kitchen to here
Into this,
to eat very easily, and we're very lucky because it stretches the summer, doesn't it? The summer for us goes from April to November, really.
Yeah, because you've got this Winter Garden. It's a bit like a palm court in a grand hotel, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, coming for drinks here, coming through the house, and you hear a clinking of champagne glasses. You walk in here, and everyone is having a lovely time. And
much more.
so, which way should we go? Should we go
round?
Let's go back. Let's go through the front door. So you've got this porte cochere, which presumably they would have driven their cars or carriages, because this is now the time of the motor car as well. This house.
But your great grandfather was very interested in carriage
we'll see.
driving.
There's a painting of him carriage driving. But yes, carriage driving is a great passion.
Great passion.
And funny enough, this actually works. You can drive a coach and four in here and get round the corner.
How amazing!
Which you wouldn't think necessarily you'd get away with. I think the basic build of the room is exactly as in the original 1770 house.
I think a bit like the work at the Ritz and Luton Hoo at the time, at Muse and Davis, all that sort of, it's got that very Edwardian sort of, again, rather glitzy, but understated
when
feel.
When you refer to the Ritz, it was one of the reasons why we didn't paint this room when we got here, because it's got all the sort of natural patina of cigar smoke.
It's wonderful.
Middle of the last century, middle of the 20th century, etc. And we thought, if we paint it, it's going to look very bling and it's going to resemble the Ritz.
So this is, we refer to as the little dining room, because it is really quite small compared to the big dining room. This room was actually is part of a bigger room. We're lucky with Sennowe in many ways, in as much as very little has changed since the original skipper building of 1907. But my uncle who lived here before me, in about 1970 or so, put in this wall, dividing a much bigger and longer room. And his purpose was to create a dining room of the sort of size where you could have
More intimate space.
a reasonably intimate and cosy
10 for dinner rather than 24.
Exactly, rather than 24. With the big dining room, which we'll go and see in a minute, you do need 24 to feel you're filling it.
We are going back in time though, because you've got some Carolean staircase.
Yep.
Now we're back in the Jacobean era.
Jacobean, vaulted ceiling.
Yep.
Yep.
Which we think is probably inspired also by Broughton Castle.
Yes.
We were talking earlier about Bert and
Yes.
carriage driving.
Yes.
Which brings us on to that picture. Carriage driving was his passion, and but he was quite a sort of he joked about. He was once stopped going down Park Lane driving a coach and six because there's a bylaw, apparently you can't drive more than a coach and four. So he came back the following day driving a coach and four with a couple of mules at the front, because they weren't horses, they were mules, and got away with it. Yeah,
So we're walking down this long, wonderful corridor.
Sporting scenes all the way around. All
Below the dome
in
is
this little sort of lunette. And yeah.
It's everywhere, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, the big dining room.
So we're coming to this amazing room, which has got blue damask on the walls. And it's got an apse at one end with these lovely painted scenes, with garlands, and then an amazing Christopher Wren Reredos style overmantel above this huge chimney piece, and then all these stuffed birds, all this taxidermy.
The original Thomas was an apprentice to a chap who was a drunkard, and I think was pretty unpleasant to young Thomas, and drove him into the arms of the temperance movement.
Yes.
And through that, his family, they were Baptists anyway, and he became an evangelical Baptist and temperance man, and he tramped the Midlands really. So he was probably almost no fixed abode for his sort of 1920, his early 20s and so forth. And what he did, he organised a temperance rally in Loughborough for the Leicester Temperance Society, and he took about 500 people odd by train from. This is 1841? 81,
It's so early, isn't it?
And he sold a ticket which gave you the train there, the coach and the rally, and then the coach back to the train, and
a meal
back home again, and presumably all the food and so forth, no drink. And of course, what he'd done unwittingly and by accident in a way is invent the package tour. You sell a single coupon, and it
which
buys
does
that
everything,
thing.
all inclusive.
All inclusive. And that's how we get.
So if I go to Benidorm, I've got him to thank as well.
Indeed.
Yes. So we're on this marvellous staircase.
Were put in by my Uncle Tom, and I think the principle of the thing was to try and lighten up a pretty dark space. Otherwise,
which it has.
Which it has.
And
because they would have been blank.
They were blank, indeed, blank oak panels.
So you've got this staircase, which they say is modelled on Cassibrey, and very deeply carved in this sort of 1660s sort of style. And so this little round one, which we can peek at, this is the original stairwell of the Georgian house.
And it's still got all this wonderful.
And it has the Bacon and Woodhouse crests and coat and shields up here.
Indeed, so Agincourt and I can't read all the but yeah.
So actually, it was even though the Georgian house was quite plain, this is a very lovely neoclassical space, isn't it?
Shall we go and look at?
Yes, let's go and see this great
bedroom, of which there are. We could go through that way because
whichever way you like.
Glorious light fittings and things in here. If you like
original light fittings.
If you like that sort of thing.
I think that's what's remarkable about this house. It's such a wonderful sort of time capsule for the period. And these chairs, for example, these are Edwardian Sennowe chairs. These are.
Well, they were part of a suite that was made for the Great Exhibition in Paris, aren't they?
Really?
There's a dressing table.
There was a Paris exhibition, wasn't there?
Yes.
There's a dressing table and a cupboard.
No, there was.
Some chests of
But bought for the house when it was first done.
Yes, I think they're Edwardian, but and we ought to look up and find out what the history of this exhibition in.
But this was a style that endured right up through the Edwardian times.
We've got some tiles in here.
And these are just wonderful, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they're one of the.
It's like a sort of hammam. Isn't it?
They're one of the glories of the house, aren't they? These tiles, and all the light fittings. It's just
that contemporary interest
and look
in
at
the East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at
You've got
that.
your- so that you can sit on the water.
You could teach a child to swim in that bath too. It's big enough.
So you could smoke in the bath and everything. Very Princess Margaret style.
Yeah.
And then these are plans of the house.
Indeed, yeah.
And of the estate.
A map of what Bert bought when he bought Sennowe. But I think we should go out to the winter garden first.
This amazing room now. This is the kitchen.
Well, we can
yes.
start if you want. It's just.
And this room really is. Do you keep this room a lovely temperature all through the year?
Luckily the Arga does.
The Arga does. Yes.
And Arga's a sort of a mad thing, really, because it heats a room rather than necessarily cooks, and does it pretty inefficiently. But it's the heart of the house. It's where all the big conversations in life.
Yeah.
happen,
And you
know.
can slightly forget about the rest of the house in here, can't you?
Dad, should I change jobs? Should I marry him? You know, all those conversations happen leaning up against the Arga mug of tea.
And then you've got all these amazing plans. This is the plan of the gardens. And
Indeed. All the yew hedging was there.
yeah.
And these quite intricate little different gardens of different sorts. We were talking earlier about the fact that the house was built just at the time when the horses were coming to an end, the petrol engine was taking over. And the consequence of that is that we have sophisticated stables and a garage, which is a tremendous place. It's got sort of 5 bays with 2 pits for working under cars. So
it was really up to.
unfortunately, we didn't have the car. If only we kept or had the cars, it must have been equipped with cars.
It would have been rather amazing, wouldn't it? Well, it's just an extraordinary survival, and yet a modern home.
Yeah, we are the survival, I suppose. Aren't we?
The survival.
We're hanging on in there, thinking of slipping down the furniture.
Oh, well, I think we're done, aren't we?